Monday morning, work resumed on our new shop out back. By 10 a.m., they had all the headers completed on the main shop, and they were waiting on a crane to come and set trusses. While we're waiting on the crane, they decided to go ahead and start setting the posts for the merchandise area as well as the front porch. I had also ordered a load of limestone to be delivered this morning, and Martin Trucking out of Alexandria brought it right on time. Just as the dump truck was pulling out of the driveway, the crane truck was backing in. Once we had the crane truck backed in around the shop and had it in position, it was time to set the outriggers and get everyone in position to start setting trusses. We had 2 men, 1 on each header. Milo took care of hooking the crane to the trusses and guiding them up with a rope to make sure they didn't get caught up in anything. It was clearly obvious to me that these guys have worked together before. As soon as the crane truck backed around the shop, it only took about 10 or 15 minutes, and they had the first truss hanging on the hook. It seemed they have this down to a science. It only took about an hour and 10 minutes to set every truss and have them nailed in place. It was pretty incredible to watch these guys work 16 feet off the ground or higher, oftentimes walking down the headers without holding on to anything except for their hand tools. I never saw anyone drop so much as a nail. For a process that seemed so dangerous, these guys made it look absolutely effortless. Just as the crew were finishing up attaching the very last truss, Billy arrived at the shop and hooked his dually to the open car trailer so that we could make a trip up to Mansfield. What are we doing today, Junebug?
So, we have found the next giveaway vehicle.
We think.
I believe. We're going to go look at it and see. But I asked everybody in a poll about, 2 months ago, what they'd like to see in the next giveaway vehicle. And I had a few options up there. One was a Fox body, another was a G body, 3rd gens, and the other option was an S-10. And the S-10 won out by a long shot.
Really?
I think it's because, that's how we started our channel. So,
right.
With the S-10 and, Tommy's S-10, stuff like that. That's kind of how we started, and that's how we got a lot of our subs, and so a lot of our subs like S10s, and they want to see us build one, so...
And give it away.
We're going to go look at an S10, really, really clean one. It's going to be hard to let go of, honestly, if we do this, but...
That's the whole reason we did a Mustang for the first one, because it was easy to let go of.
Yeah. This one's not going to be so easy to let go of. It's going to be tough.
Now the S-10 that we're going to look at today is a truck that I've been talking to the owner about for almost a year. I really wanted to keep this truck for myself, but the fact of the matter is, I don't need another vehicle. I've already got more than I can keep up as it is. How's it going?
Not too bad. How about yourself, buddy?
Not too bad. What do you got here?
83 Chevy S10. Belonged to my father-in-law. He's put a couple square bodies together. He's got an 86 Chevy square body short bed. And this was one out of his collection that he wants to let go. So
really?
Here we are.
Let's check it out.
Yes, sir.
This truck is a 1983 S10 with the old style flat dash that were only available in the first 4 years of production. And this particular truck happens to be a Tahoe edition. The truck is mostly stock and painted back its original light blue color. The truck has a roll pan, a cowl induction hood, a few emblems added to it, and chrome valve covers and a chrome air cleaner on the original stock 2.8 liter V6 engine. The truck rides on a set of Corvette rallies with disc brake center caps and BF Goodrich white letter tires. The original chrome Tahoe grille is still in place, as well as the factory sport mirrors. Most of the original decals are still on the truck, including the rare early Tahoe tailgate emblem. Inside the bed shows a little wear and the tailgate still shuts like new, as do the doors, and the original interior is still in very, very nice condition. Originally from Arizona, this truck's never been in the salt and it's just as solid underneath as it is up top. It was pretty much a no-brainer to make a deal on this truck, but there was one last stipulation that the owner wanted to take care of before he let it go. The owner's little boy asked if Billy would mind signing his Raggedy Ann t-shirt that he's had for a long time. Billy signed the shirt and his cast on his left arm. That pretty much sealed the deal, and it was time to fire the little S-10 up and load it up on the trailer so we can take it home. Even the reverse lights still work on the factory column shifter. I think this truck is going to make a really nice project, and I think there's going to be a lot of people interested in a chance to win this thing, especially if we can get it to do wheelies out on the street the way Billy and Tommy's trucks did back in the day.
Well,
Cream puff.
cream puff.
Cream puff.
It is a beautiful color.
It is from Arizona. It's never been in the salt. It's been painted one time.
And it's got a bed cover.
Yeah, it's got tonneau cover. Look at this. That's original.
Wow.
It's an original Tahoe truck. Look at this. Ready? Amazing. This is kind of a, I don't know, I wouldn't say rare, but I guess it is rare now. It's a 1983. That's the second year these were made. Okay. And it's a factory Tahoe, which means it's a upgraded, it's got the fancy interior. It's got the, the Chevrolet across the tailgate. It's got the factory chrome grille. Like, the Tahoes were top of the line, okay? But what's weird about this, no air conditioning. It has no power steering. It has no power brakes. It's like a factory hot rod. But it's a 2.8 V6, little teeny tiny 2.8 V6 with an automatic transmission. But no power steering, no power brakes, no air conditioning. It's a weird one. Came from Arizona. Little clues that this thing is like legit, right?
Clues, okay.
Like, ready?
Yep. Wow.
By Tuesday morning, Milo and his crew had all the purlins installed on the main shop roof. Next on their list of things to do was to build the headers and start setting the trusses that cover the merchandise area as well as the front porch. Me and June Pup, on the other hand, have some business to attend to down in Circleville this morning. Alright guys, so it's Tuesday and I got a little errand I need to run today. So as you saw in a video last week, maybe a little week before, got Addie's engine put together up at Bob's, and Bob and I dynoed it and tuned it, and her mom and dad came and picked the engine up, and they've taken the engine home and they're just about ready to set the engine down into Malibu for Addie, but she needs a set of headers. A week or so ago, a set of headers popped up on Facebook Marketplace. It was a friend of mine. It was actually CJ Buckner's brother, and I've known Steven and CJ for many, many years. Steven has offered to give me a really good deal on a set of headers for a G-body that are much nicer, much better than the headers that I gave to Addie to put on her car. So we're gonna run down Circleville and go pick up a set of headers for Addie. So me and June Pup jumped in the Suburban and we hit the road. It's about an hour drive one way from our house, headed west on 70, over to 270 on the south end of Columbus, and then finally down State Route 23 towards Circleville. Now I don't get down this way very often, but it's beautiful scenery down 23, through South Bloomfield, and then finally down into Circleville, right at State Route 56. June Pup and I got caught up waiting on a train at the railroad crossing right by the elevator, and I thought what better time than to get out the drone and take some drone shots while I'm here. Circleville's a really neat little town with a lot of history. And although it was a nice day to take a drive, I'm just hoping that Steven still has these headers for me and someone else hasn't come along and snatched them up, offering more money than he was asking for them. After all, it had taken me a few days to make it down here, and I had pretty much made up my mind. As long as the headers were in good shape and he still had them, I was going to pay him a little extra. Hey, what's happening? You got something for me? Good. Let's go check them out. True to his word, Steven still had the headers waiting in the back of his truck. So we struck a deal and I loaded them in the back of the Suburban, and then I turned and burned out of Circleville back on 23 north to Columbus, where I had another stop to make over on the west side of downtown. There's a Chevrolet dealer over there that used to be called Bobby Lehman Chevrolet before it was bought by none other than Mark Wahlberg. 3900 West Broad Street is now the home of Mark Wahlberg Chevrolet. And according to their parts inventory, they have a part in stock that I need to pick up for my buddy Milo. One of his brothers were climbing up on his Silverado the other day, trying to get something off the ladder rack. The only problem is he stepped on this light that's sticking out of the dually fender and broke the attachment clip. So that brings me to Mark Wahlberg Chevrolet, where I'm immediately recognized by Doug Scott at the parts counter. I needed Malibu.
Daryl said to see Doug.
Hey, you recognized me as soon as I walked in, right?
Yep.
From what? This buddy of yours that watches the channel?
Yep.
What's his name?
Old Daryl.
Old Daryl. Shout out to Old Daryl. So I lay out the situation to Doug and explain to him that someone's already called in and supposedly this part is here and it's in stock. See if you can come up with that.
Let's see what we can do.
While Doug was in the back digging around to see if he can come up with this light, I hung out in the parts room, but it didn't take long for him to come back. Did you come up with it?
Oh, yeah.
Ha ha! That's what I'm talking about.
I want to see if it matches. Looking like a winner?
I think it's an orange one though. It's an amber instead of a red.
Ah, they gave you the wrong part number, bro.
Uh-oh. After double checking the part number, Doug found that we were one number off.
Let's take a peek.
I'm glad you opened that up, or I would have taken that first one back and he would have been disappointed in me.
How's that?
Hey, now we're talking. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
You have a winner.
While I'm in at the Chevrolet dealer picking up parts, back at the farm, my brother's doing some parts picking up of his own, and he's making a stop at my house afterwards.
What in the world? Bucko! Oh my gosh.
Evidently, Jeremy's heading up a scrap drive today, and he stopped at the house to see if we had any additional stuff to add to the load.
Well, can you fit this old scrap grill on there?
Probably. Doesn't he have a pile of something that needs to go?
Kenny helped Jeremy throw an old gas grill on there and some other junk, and then he was on his way.
Any thoughts?
No.
Just about the time Jeremy was headed out the driveway in Dad's old dump truck full of scrap, I was pulling in the driveway in the Suburban, eager to see what progress the guys have made on the barn while I was gone. By the time I got back, they were finishing up setting the trusses over the office space in the merch area with a homemade boom on the skid steer. Once this last set of trusses are set, they can put the purlins on for the roof and then start framing up the 3 dormers and schedule our inspection for the headers that we need to get done before we can start putting the metal roof on. With a little bit of luck and some cooperation from Mother Nature, Milo's crew should have the barn finished up next week. So that brings us to Tuesday night, and Vicky and I decided to take the Malibu to deliver Addie's headers and go out to dinner. I let her parents know we were on the way, but Addie didn't know until she heard me pulling into the neighborhood. Outside of June Pup, I think Addie's the only one that gets that excited to see me pull in the driveway.
Surprise! Something in the trunk here.
So, these are better than what you have. They're not the best thing you can get, but they're definitely better than what you got.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I took a few minutes and explained to Addie the need for the larger header diameter since she plans to put nitrous on her 406, and it would be much easier to put bigger headers on it now before they put the engine down in the car.
Oh boy. Mom painted?
Mom painted it. Wow. Addie's family's been busy. They've got a new Battle Axe Power Glide from Vickers Performance Transmissions. They've rebuilt the whole front suspension with new upper and lower control arms, new bushings, springs, Viking dual adjustable shocks, 1-inch taller ball joints, and the same bump steer kit that I've got. I told Addie once she gets the car running to bring it up to my house, and we'll take care of the rear anti-roll bar and convert the car from power brakes over to a strange manual master cylinder. So tomorrow's your first day at high school?
Yeah, freshman year.
Oh my goodness. A freshman.
Tell him what time you have to get up. He goes about 5.
Good luck with that. Since Addie needed to get to bed so she can get up early for her first day of high school, Vicky and I took off for Texas Roadhouse and got something to eat. We could hardly wait for Wednesday morning because we knew that when Milo got here, he and his crew were going to start framing up the dormers that go across the top of the new shop. The plans call for 3 of them, and they started with the one right in the middle of the roof. The dormers weren't the only exciting thing Wednesday morning. It looks like maybe the guys have got my old Nova finished up since it's sitting out in the yard. So I figured I'd go in and check with Billy and see what the status is on the car and see what he's working on in the shop today on his own Nova. He's got it pulled inside to do a little bit of maintenance before they take it racing this weekend. So what's the current status on the old red Nova out there?
Needs fuel.
Needs fuel?
You're supposed to go get some yesterday.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I got a little busy. But the brakes are up on it?
The brakes are up. Everything should be good to go. I need to make some wastegate downpipes. But
Okay.
other than that, it should be ready to test.
So I just need to go get some fuel so I can cruise around in it.
Yep.
Copy that. Billy and the guys just replaced all the original factory drum brakes on my Nova with a full set of Strange Evolution disc brakes, as well as a complete Strange 9-inch rear end. Once we had the brakes installed, we quickly realized that the factory master cylinder wasn't up to par. But now that everything's complete and the brakes are bled, it's time to take my Nova out for its first test drive. Me and June Pup just need to go get a little E85 first. So we jumped in Dad's old blue Chevy pickup and headed for the sheet station in Heath. While we were topping off fuel jugs, the guys are back at the shop working on Billy's Nova, checking valve lash and doing an oil change. When me and June Pup got back, we went ahead and put 14 gallons of fuel in the Nova, and it was time to go out for a test drive. However, I left June Pup at home. There's no air conditioning in the Nova, and it was over 90 degrees today. A little too hot for her to be riding shotgun, and I don't think her water bowl would stay upright throughout this entire test drive. Obviously due to the acceleration, but also due to the fact that I want to pump these brakes up and see how well the car stops. After all, this is the first time I've ever driven this car with really good brakes. The brakes and suspension seemed to be just fine during the test drive. And even though it was 91 degrees outside, the coolant temperature never got over 185. Although I haven't done any tuning on this engine yet at all, the car seemed to run and drive and made boost pretty well. So I brought it back to the house, let it cool off, let the roads cool off, and then it was time to go make its first test pass. All right, everybody, welcome back. So, as you saw in the video, the Nova made its first test hit tonight, and it went pretty well, honestly. It didn't even offer to spin a tire. It's got a 350 rear gear, and the Power Glide's got a 180 low gear set. So, it's pretty gentle, leaving the starting line. And we don't really know how much boost it's making yet. We don't know what the ratio is for the wastegates and everything. We were kind of just running out of time tonight to at least get down and make one more, or make one hit on it, and that was it. You know, it looks like it's going to definitely need an anti-roll bar. You can see the car twist up a little bit in the back, and I want to go over everything real close on the rear of the car to make sure that the rear spring mounts, the front spring mounts underneath the car, I want to make sure that they're tight, because I hear something creaking a little bit in the back of the car when you make turns, and we're not sure what that noise is, but there's definitely something going on, and I feel like maybe the driver's side front spring hanger isn't tight. I don't know. I just get that feeling. So we need to look into all that stuff. Obviously, now we can start tuning the car. We can start taking the car to the track and making passes with it. I don't think that engine's going to stay in there very long. I'm not 100% certain on that. But what I would like to do with the car is run 650 index with it. And I'm sure I can get it to go at least that fast. I don't think that's going to be a problem, but time will tell. You know, I feel like I was talking to Billy tonight, and I feel like once the boost comes in, I can almost feel like the ignition timing being taken away from it. It just feels like it doesn't have enough timing in it. It's really flat, and I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't have enough timing in it. I didn't have time tonight to bring it in the shop or anything. We're working on the Falcon. It's sitting in here right now. Billy's Nova's all loaded up. It's ready to go. I think we're going to Mags this weekend, Magnolia, Ohio. But there's been some talk of going to KD for blocks race down there. I'm not sure what Billy's planning on doing just yet. The S-10, that's going to be an interesting situation. You know, I told Billy I thought that if we built that truck to be a nice street strip truck that does wheelies on the streets like Tommy's truck and Billy's truck used to do, I feel like there's a lot of people that would be interested in that. I think Billy's going to introduce his video of us getting the truck and going for its initial test drive when we got it home. I think that video may be going up tomorrow. As far as I know, Tommy's at home editing that right now, and so that'll be going up tomorrow. And once that goes up, I think Billy's going to ask some questions and post some polls asking, you know, would you guys most like to see an LS or a small block Chevy? Would you like to see a Power Glide Turbo 400 or an overdrive transmission? Is this something the vast majority of people would be interested in if it was a drag and drive type of truck where you can put it in overdrive and drive it around like my Malibu? I don't know. I'm not sure. You know, I don't really know which direction the vast majority of everybody that watches our channels would like to see that build go. But I can tell you that truck is extremely nice. It is extremely clean. It is very solid, and I'm really looking forward to that. I look forward to driving it and making some content with it and maybe doing a little racing with it. It's going to be a neat build. It really is. I'm really excited. I've been talking to this guy for over a year about this truck, and I don't know. It was one of those things I was really wanting to keep that one for myself. I haven't had an S-10 in years. I thought that the blue one that Tommy has, I thought I was going to keep that one for me, and then that was about the time that Tommy was in high school and he needed a driver to go to school in, and so Tommy inherited the blue one, and that was the one I was going to try and keep for myself. And then I found this one. I thought, man, this would be the one. You know, this would be a nice one. But as I'm getting older, I very much appreciate power steering and power brakes and air conditioning. You know, that's why I built my Malibu the way I did. And this truck doesn't have any of that. So it's more of a really nice, solid hot rod build. Something that maybe you can go 10s on motor, put a little nitrous on it, maybe a turbo truck. You know, I don't know. I don't know what everybody's going to say when he starts asking for input. And but whatever the vast majority of people request is most likely the direction that project's going to go, and I'm looking forward to it, whatever it is. Obviously, a carbureted small block would be right up our alley, and probably be the least expensive option for us, because we are so familiar with those combinations, obviously. But, you know, I don't know. It just depends. We'll see what everybody wants to do. I'm going to hop off here for tonight, guys, and I'm going to go in and finish up this video and get it uploaded. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Looking forward to seeing everybody's comments on the little blue S-10, the next giveaway truck. I think it's going to do really well. I think there's going to be a lot of people interested in that. So good night, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and supporting my family.